On tonight, man, we already got John Morgan, member of the channel, already in the chat, but we have some breaking news for you. We have bombshell news coming about Tim Walz. This is Kamala Harris's VP, who literally let a gang steal $250 million, $250 million from the American people. I've got the details for you in just a moment. Also, guys, I got to show you, I got the best ad that I believe is out there for Trump that I want to show you. We have the president that manages the border that has come out and says that Kamala Harris has not even met with him, not once, to talk about and meet about protecting the border. So this is super sad. We have Kamala Harris, who has made comments about walking back the promised aid to Israel to help them fight this war. Well, after she made that, her campaign came out to say something. We have JD Vance, who's ripped Kamala Harris for not choosing Josh Shapiro, all because he's a Jew and her party didn't want him to be a part of that. We have the United States, who has just given $3.5 billion in aid to Israel for more weapons to be able to fight this war. And guess what? Just hours ago, we had a drone attack a U.S. base in Syria. So in the Middle East, you can say what you want, but we're pretty much already in war. If we're funding the war and people are attacking us, yeah, we're pretty much there. We just haven't declared it. But just want to say thank you to John Morgan, who's now a member of the channel. Everybody give some love to him. Also, too, I want to say thank you to everybody that is subscribed. If you're not subscribed, hit that subscribe button so we can serve you every day with the top news. And if you don't mind clicking the thumbs up like button, it really does help to grow the channel right there. And also, thank you to everybody that has given a super chat or a donation to the channel. It's such a blessing to us, and we just want to take care of you every day with all of this top news. So we'll get some fireworks to get the show started. And let's jump right into this, guys. This is the best ad I've ever seen pertaining to Trump. Check it out.
Ad that has been made in the past 20 years.
If I give you one message to hold in your hearts today, it's this. Treat the word impossible as nothing more than motivation. Relish the opportunity to be an outsider, because it's the outsiders who change the world and who make a real and lasting difference. The more that a broken system tells you that you're wrong, the more certain you should be that you must keep pushing ahead. You must keep pushing forward.
How amazing was that ad for... Wow. Yes, we are live right now, guys, but let me show you this, because this is also breaking the internet right now of what Kamala Harris had to say about some people who are just trying to celebrate Christmas. Check it out.
And when we all sing happy tunes and sing Merry Christmas and wish each other Merry Christmas, these children are not going to have a Merry Christmas. How dare we speak Merry Christmas? How dare we?
So you have somebody who says we need to do what's right. We need to fight for our country. We need to make sure to do and go against the grain no matter what. And then you got somebody who's being mad about people saying Merry Christmas. Tell me, who do you want the president to be? But guys, there's a big scandal, a big bombshell that has just been released. This is pertaining to who? To Tim Walz. This is Kamala Harris's VP. And all this bombshell news of him literally giving $250 million, letting it all happen, of American people's money to what? To a lot of trash. Check it out.
We've known Tim Walz for less than a week, and we've already found out he let rioters burn down cities, lied about his military service, crushed small businesses, and turned Minnesota into a child sex change sanctuary. But that's not it. Tonight, we're dropping another Walz bombshell. As governor, Walz let a gang of politically connected Somali fraudsters steal $250 million of your money. It was the single biggest COVID scam in American history. During the pandemic, the government was just giving out money left and right. A nonprofit in Minnesota, Feeding Our Future, got $250 million to send food to needy kids. Sounds good, right? Here's the problem. Almost none of it was used for food.
Wow.
The Somali scammers
Guys,
blew our cash on real
Guys, let me know what your thoughts are about this in the comments section.
estate, cars, extravagant get trips. We have wire transfers that show thousands going to car dealerships. $160,000 went to some company in China. And $500,000 was sent to Kenya to buy an apartment. A $500,000 apartment in Kenya is probably a palace. But our tax dollars weren't just used on goodies. The politicians got a taste too. Ilhan Omar got thousands of dollars in donations from some of the scammers.
Wow.
These guys weren't criminal masterminds. It was sloppy. When they cooked the books, they made up names of their fake clients. They came up with these names. Are you ready? Unique problem. Friday donations. How'd nobody catch that? Well, early on, Walz's administration thought it looked a little suspicious, so they froze the funds. Then the Somalis sued and called Walz racist, so he kept letting them steal.
Wow.
They didn't bother to crack into the bank accounts or issue subpoenas. Walz just put his hands in the air and said, I'm not racist. Take whatever you want. Minnesota has a huge Somali population. You can't get called racist and expect to win another election there. Walz even gave one of the fraudsters the Minnesota Outstanding Refugee Award. 3 years later, she was indicted. No thanks to Walz, the feds came in after her, ignored the problem for years.
Wow.
During the trial, the Somalis tracked down a juror and dropped off a Hallmark bag on their doorstep, filled with 120 G's, and a little note saying, there's more to come if she acquits.
Wow.
This all happened under Walz's nose. He had every chance to stop it and failed. Just like he failed to protect his city during the riots and just like he failed his unit when he retired before deployment.
Look, I don't know about y'all, but I'm seeing a consistency with this dude. If you're going to let somebody steal $250 million, you're going to let for 4 days rioters destroy your city. If you're going to leave your platoon as soon as you get orders to go overseas, you got a problem. You shouldn't be running for vice president.
Kamala Harris chose as her number 2. Donna Bergstrom ran against Walz for lieutenant governor in 2018. Donna, how did he win after all of this stuff is coming out about him? This, and this. How is this possible?
Wow.
It is astonishing, isn't it? And thank you for having me here, Jesse. This is really a pleasure. I'm so happy that people are finally bringing this out about our governor. We've known about this for a long time. And one of the things that's truly astonishing about this is not just the numbers and the level of the fraud, but actually that he takes no responsibility for it. There hasn't been anybody that's been removed or put on administrative leave so that they can look into these issues. And this is just really...
Hey, isn't that consistent with Biden? You know, isn't that consistent with the Secret Service? People get shot, 13 service members die in Afghanistan, yet nobody gets fired. Like, what is with them?
The tip of the iceberg. There's Medicare fraud, there was daycare fraud, there was an autism support fraud, there was workers' compensation pay fraud. So, you know, his middle name must be fraud because here we see it over and over again. And it's truly astonishing.
So Tim, under Tim's nose, these Somali identity pirates scammed $250 million. They caught them. And then he got called racist, so he backed off and then didn't fire anybody. Never fired a single person.
Wow.
For getting ripped off more than any other state in the country during COVID?
That's my understanding of it, and that's what I believe is his stance, is that he did nothing wrong, and that you'll see his pattern over and over. He'll point to somebody else and put the blame on somebody else. So it fits his pattern, and I saw it in 2018 as well. He just has this pattern of appeasing whoever he's talking to, whatever audience he's with. So he'd come up here to Northeast Minnesota. I'm in Duluth right now, but he'd come up to Northeast Minnesota with a mining T-shirt and then go down to the metro area, Minneapolis, St. Paul, and he'd have an anti-mining T-shirt on. So it fits this pattern that he's going to just do or say whatever he has to do to keep himself in power, keep himself elected, not really take responsibility for good government at all.
Let me tell you this, guys. I don't know about y'all, but I see a consistency when it comes to a lot of the Democrats, that especially Kamala Harris, especially, who will 100% change her hairstyle, change her accent, change her voice, no matter what, to appease people, to try to get more votes. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. I get tired of the inauthenticity. I get tired of them being charlatans to people just trying to win votes. We need to have true people that don't change. Did you hear that they literally caught him going and wearing a mine? We need a mine, and then goes across the city, wears an anti-mining T-shirt just to what? Get votes. Like, we're living in that type of environment where people are so fake and that they just want to be in a certain position of power and then get paid, get all the benefits that come with it. And then us, what do? We just got to keep paying our taxes. We just got to keep making sure we're giving them the money. Why? So that they can let $250 million slip right under them to all of these people that shouldn't have got it, doing all this stupid stuff. Let me know your thoughts in the comments, guys. But we got some more crazy news because Kamala Harris, she literally made some comments to some people about walking back the aid to Israel, our closest ally. The super small country who's being, rampaged by everybody. Check this out, guys. You're not going to believe it.
Senior White House correspondent Peter Doocy has more. Peter.
Harris, the vice president spoke for a little bit more than 1 minute in that plain side gaggle that broke the no questions answered streak. But there is no reason to think that her team might need to prep her quite a bit more before she talks for more than 60 or 70 seconds. Case in point, she apparently, according to the New York Times, told a group of uncommitted voters in Michigan that she is open to the idea of an arms embargo, stop shipping some U.S. arms to Israel, which her team immediately had to walk back. Her national security advisor, Phil Gordon, came right out to say VP has been clear she will always ensure Israel is able to defend itself against Iran and Iran.
Remember, she was talking to uncommitted voters, trying to sway them to vote for her by saying, oh, yeah, we'll put some embargoes. We won't give them the weapons that Israel needs to defend itself. You got to be kidding me. Guys, if you don't mind clicking the thumbs up like button, guys, it really helps to grow the channel. Thank you so much. Love you. Thank you for your support.
Terrorist groups. She does not support an arms embargo on Israel. She will continue to work to protect civilians in Gaza and uphold international humanitarian law. But that's just not going to fly with uncommitted voters who seem to be of the opinion that they had moved the VP on this issue.
This movement has always been about policy shift, about policy change, about saving Palestinian lives in the immediate.
We want her to stop sending bombs to kill people we love.
Vice President Harris, as she tries to establish herself as the top of the ticket, has been looking for places that she can distance herself from President Biden. Gaza policy is believed to be one of those places, but distance from President Biden is going to become a lot harder because next week she is going to be on the campaign trail with him, President Biden. Harris.
Peter,
guys,
thank you.
Imagine trying to campaign with Biden right there, and then you basically got to say, look, I wasn't a part of his cabinet. Even though I was his vice president, I wasn't a part of his economy or his border policies or his foreign war policies. No, I'm a totally different candidate. Lies, lies, lies.
Very much. I want to bring in now the power panel. Richard Fowler, Fox News contributor, and Matt Gorman, Targeted Victory executive, vice president, and former Tim Scott campaign advisor. Richard, I'm going to come to you first. When Harris's aides say that the fractured media landscape, and many in the legacy media, I would assume that's what they mean by media landscape, where trust in traditional news outlets has fallen, and that's why we haven't seen her in an interview.
19 days without an interview. Guys, you can't make this crap up. You can't make this stuff up where we have the literally presidential candidate for the Democratic Party who literally will not do an interview. Why? Because she's word salad. She can't keep a coherent sentence. She wants to say that, oh, we're going to be transparent with you, with the American people. You can't even do an interview. This is insane.
I mean, that would be like ABC, CBS, NBC. What does that even mean? And what, she's not going to sit for anybody then? Just TikTok?
No, listen.
I mean, that's what they said.
As a member of the media, I do think it's important that she does sit down for an interview. And I do believe that she will likely do so. With that being said, in all fairness, I think it's worth pointing out that it's not like Kamala Harris was the candidate of 4 months ago or 5 months ago or even 6 months ago or even 3 weeks ago.
Well, that's no one's fault but your party's. They coronated her.
Hold on a second. She was the candidate of last week, and there was a lot of things that had to happen between last week and this week and next week as we go towards the convention. And so I do think she'll sit down with the media, but I also think she has to talk to party officials. She has to get to all the battleground states. And in contrast...
All right, so the presidential candidate has to go get permission to answer questions in an interview. Guys, you got to be kidding me.
Donald Trump is going to Montana tonight, a state that's not even in contention.
And what he says is he wants to help people down ticket win because he can, because he's ahead in those states. I'm just quoting him from his news conference that he gave for over an hour ago.
But not by all the recent polls.
But I do have a question about when you say when she became the the presumptive, now completely coronated by a vocal roll call, a digital roll call, now the Democratic nominee. When voters voted through the primary season, Matt, they thought they were getting Joe Biden. They got hurt. That's fine. That's how they want to handle it on their side. But then you can't complain when the media come calling and want to know what her policies are because she's been the last person in the room, the last woman in the room, as Biden has said, on every important issue during their administration when it counts for America.
No, I mean, look, past his prologue, we saw this when she ran for president back in early 2019. She can handle the scripted environments where every variable around her is controlled. But when she gets into spontaneous scenarios, needs to think on her feet, that's when it doesn't get as, she gets back on her heels. It doesn't get as pretty for her. And so that is what this press conference that Trump did, was trying to draw her out. And look, for the next 80 some odd days, she's going to try and run the clock out. You know, the open secret here in Washington.
I love this comment. Karen Little says, you never heard from her for 3.5 years, and we still ain't hearing from her even though she's the presidential candidate.
Is that she's agreed to a very simple interview with a network. And
hey, guys, if you don't mind, let me know where you're from. What state are you from? What city are you from? Show some love from where you're from. I'm from Nashville, Tennessee, and I love bringing this community together.
She's been talking to press off the record. And the idea is you feed them off the record content so they're less likely to want as many interviews from you. And so, look, she's going to try and run the clock with a compliant press corps that follows her around. And she might just do it. It's our job to keep holding her to account.
Well, you know, it's interesting. Off the record for reporters is also off the record by definition with the public, because we can't repeat what's been said in those off the record conversations. It's a way to build relationships with people. And I would argue in many cases to find out who your friends are in the media. And who your enemies are if your enemies are those people who would ask you the tougher questions. None of that really serves the American public. They just have a straight up and down. It's broken now, can you fix it? A new one column titled this: Kamala Harris wants the media to help her run out the clock. Others also weighing in on the media and what Kamala Harris's team may be thinking. Watch.
I would say this to the mainstream media: Kamala Harris is ignoring you because she thinks she already has you. She thinks the mainstream media is already in her thrall and her corner.
As she's been vice president, we've seen some kind of damaging moments when her speaking to the press. And so I think that is something that's always been on the mind of...
Did you hear that? That's from MSNBC, that there's been some damaging moments when she's spoken. Yeah, because she can't think straight. Unless it's like her and Biden, unless it's on the teleprompter, then they can't talk. But guess what? Even when Biden now is so bad, he was speaking on the teleprompter and he said something about in every school class, there's 28 kids out of every school class are Latino. So we need to make sure that we take care of them. And everybody, I'm not joking, guys, everybody was looking at him like, wait, what? It's crazy, y'all.
Her office and the vice president herself.
The vice president has had plenty of viral press moments, as we know, and some of them not good.
You haven't been to the border.
And I haven't been to Europe. And I don't understand the point that you're making. This is just an extraordinary testament.
Did you hear that? Look, we got a crisis at the border. Why haven't you been to the border? And then she says, well, I haven't been to Europe. What is the point trying to make? You're the borders are. Go do your dang job. Protect the American people. Hey, I love everybody. We got people from Florida, Missouri, Cancun, heck yeah. Indiana. We've got from New York, Delaware, Oklahoma City, Indianapolis, New Hampshire. Guys, West Virginia, Kentucky. Let's go. I love everybody participating in the chat, guys.
To the importance of having a president who understands the power of diplomacy and understands the strength that rests in understanding the significance of diplomacy.
We need you to be kamala of the country.
Is the United States willing to...
Guys, I'm not joking. I just think like sometimes, hey, Lula Malone from Wisconsin. Does other countries look at us and think of us as a joke? Because I'm not joking. I mean, it just feels like it sometimes when we hear our elected officials speak.
A specific allocation for Ukrainian refugees. And for President Duda, I wanted to know if you think, and if you asked the United States to specifically accept more refugees.
Okay. A friend in need is a friend in need.
First question was for her. It was quite clear the second was for him. She goes first. Who needs a friend, Richard? Kamala?
Look, I think you picked a couple of press blunders every politician has, and there's also some great press moments. I know one in particular when she was in Ghana and she was asked a question about Ghana's policies towards the LGBT community, and she said right away that LGBTQ rights are human rights, and the rights that they have here in the United States should be the same rights they have in Ghana. And she said in front of the Ghanaian president who...
Hey guys, if you don't mind clicking the thumbs up like button, let's get some love for the channel. Thank you so much.
Passing a law that was making it illegal to be gay. So I think there are moments out there where you see her stood up and she's been very strong in front of the press. And once again, I think you'll see more moments like that at the debate with ABC. And as this campaign continues, I think right now, like I said, I think she's trying to get her campaign together. She's trying to meet delegates. She's trying to meet the voters. She's trying to get to all the battleground states. But I do think she will do an interview.
Ghana is a beautiful country filled with just wonderful people. We need for her to take questions with a different country that ends in A.
Yeah, but
America.
the clip you showed there was
from
the clip you showed there was in Warsaw. So I'm just pointing out a clip on the foreign
not all
stage
of it.
where the last clip was from Warsaw. I'm telling you, when she was in Ghana, she answered.
Okay, but watch the entire thing. And if you'd given some other example besides the one country you did, and maybe one in our own nation, as we did in our montage,
sure. I mean, I could also
then I could understand the
interview
pushback.
she did
but
with
I
Matt
don't
Carter.
right now, and I'm going to move on.
She did an interview with Matt Carter.
The clamor
Sherry
for
Shepherd.
Kamala Harris to answer real questions is actually getting louder. In the media, the traditional media space that her team says that they don't trust, Wal Street Journal columnist can...
The Wal Street Journal literally says, choose your own Kamala. We don't know who she is. She has a different accent every time she goes to a different state. Who exactly is the 59-year-old woman aspiring to be the world's most powerful person? Wow. This comes from the Wal Street Journal, guys. This is hilarious.
Lee Strassel's piece titled, Choose Your Own Kamala, as an excerpt. Who exactly is the woman aspiring to be the world's most powerful person? That's the beauty of the Kamala Harris campaign. Who knows? The Democratic nominee has already become the political equivalent of the Choose Your Own Adventure books. The Journal's editorial board with Kamala Harris puts it this way, mystery commander-in-chief. Quote, she is all but telling Americans that they'll have to elect her to find out what she really believes.
Wow.
As she ducks interviews and the media give her a free ride. This is bad enough on domestic issues, but on foreign policy, it could be perilous. Matt, I come to you. So the ducking, Richard has the point that he makes that it hasn't been that long since she's been the nominee, but we've known her for an entire presidency and vice presidency with the most important issues in our lives like our sovereignty, our nation's sovereignty at the border.
I mean, the press follows her around to every event. It's not like she needs to, 2-week notice to do an interview. She could do an interview. And also, I'll say this too. An interview, singular, is the bare minimum. Because what's going to happen is she's going to give an interview and do, 8 minutes. And then the media will be like, okay, great, we did it. Thank you. There needs to be consistent media interactions here, answering questions. Because as you talk about, she's changed her positions on everything from buying back guns to decriminalizing illegal immigration to fracking. She's had to address none of it. She has an anonymous aide talk to the press, say she's reversed her positions, and the press leaves it at that. There needs to be many questions about how she came to change her positions on a host of issues that she took when she ran for president just 4 years ago.
Yeah, 4 years ago, she didn't have all the positions that she had now. Now she's just trying to change the story. Look, we've got California in the house. We got people from Hawaii, guys. I love it. Man, this is so cool. I just love being able to do these live streams with y'all, being able to actually go through and just see real life people participating in this stream, growing this community. Thank you so much for all your support. Y'all are awesome. Guys, check out JD Vance destroys Kamala. Check this out.
Is destroyed. Ma'am.
Hi, Kelly Mylan, Spectrum News. Mr. Vance, recently you, after being picked for VP, you said my attitude is it doesn't really matter as much as this hits my ego, and then Trump recently said it makes no difference. Do you think it matters that Harris chose Walz, and why?
I think it matters about what it says about her, right? And I think that when President Trump selected me, what he was saying is, I want somebody who's going to fight for workers. I want somebody who's going to push back against the Chinese efforts to build the American middle class on the tops of he's going to push back against the Chinese effort to build the Chinese middle class on the back of the American middle class. And I want somebody who's going to push back against this crazy border policy of Kamala Harris. What does Kamala Harris's selection of Tim Walz say about her? Well, I think it says, one, she's leaning into the defund the police radicalism of the last few years. Two, she's leaning into the open borders policies of the last few years. This is a guy, Tim Walz, who wanted to give driver's licenses to illegal aliens, facilitating the flow of illegal immigration instead of stopping it. And then the final point that I'd say is it says that she bent the knee to the Hamas caucus of the Democrat Party. Whatever your views on Pennsylvania Governor Josh Shapiro, and obviously he's not in my political party, he's criticized me, I criticized him. The amount of rage that you heard from the far left saying Kamala Harris can't pick this guy because he's Jewish is disgraceful. I want my kids to grow up in a country where they can be whatever they want to be, and people aren't attacking them for their ethnic heritage, and that's somehow considered acceptable. It's not just that they said it was acceptable. It's not just what these people said about Shapiro. It's the way that the Harris administration and the Harris campaign refused to push back against it. I think it's a real scandal.
Yep. And that's 100% things that we're seeing. Like, we're literally seeing things change before our eyes. Their policies change before their eyes. But then you know what I love is whenever we have this being called out, that says, look, there's a lot of things that could have been done to protect the American people at the border. Now you have the person who was actually the president who was designated to be the president in charge of working the border and managing the people, who is now coming out to say they didn't do a dang thing. Check this out.
Border Patrol Council anymore, so I can't give endorsements for Border Patrol agents, but personally, from what I've seen, absolutely support you as well. I like to have honest conversations. I don't care if people agree with me, if they disagree with me. All I want is facts to be out there, and let the American people then decide based upon all of the information. And as long as they can decide based upon all the information, we're good. But it's when we're not able to get all the information out, that's when it becomes very frustrating to me. It becomes very frustrating to Border Patrol agents. It becomes frustrating to law enforcement nationwide when we just can't get the facts out there. I'm going to give you facts. Please, by all means, fact check me. In the transition period, I met with Biden's transition team. I spoke to them about what was going to happen if he followed through on his promises to abolish President Trump's policies. I also gave them suggestions on what they could do if they chose to abolish those policies. They did abolish those policies. They failed to put in any policies to address the issue.
Right. So think about it. We've had over 10 million illegals come into the country. On day one, Biden eliminates the Remain in Mexico policy. They stop building the border. and they basically tell everybody to just come on in. Why? Because they're trying to make them voters.
After then Vice President Harris was still Vice President Harris was put in charge of the border. And again, I'm going to use their words. She was charged with addressing the root causes of migration. That's what she was charged with. And because DHS cannot control every single facet of illegal immigration, if China won't take their nationals back, if Venezuela won't take their nationals back, you have to have the State Department that's then involved. Then you also have the court system. DHS doesn't control the court system. That's DOJ. We don't control, DHS does not control the U.S. attorneys. That's DOJ. So you have different departments that operate, that deal with this issue. Because of that, you have to have somebody that can then coordinate between all of those different departments. When I met with the transition team, they ensured me that any proposal that we gave them, it would go directly to the top. Harris and Biden. I then met with Secretary Mayorkas after she was appointed to address the root causes of migration. And I met with him and I gave them point by point what they could do. Not like a light switch, not like remain in Mexico. I stayed within their parameters. Their parameters was going to take a period of time, but it could have been done. And even staying within their parameters, Harris refused to implement any of the policies, programs, or operations that were given to her that would have addressed this issue.
Wow.
That is extremely frustrating, especially now that she is going to try to redefine herself. Now that she is going to try to rewrite history and say that she was never the border czar, when in fact...
Remember, this is the Border Control Council president.
She was charged with, and again, address the root causes of migration. She failed to do that. She had the policies. She could have implemented the policies that fit within her parameters, and she refused to do it. This election comes down to policies. This election comes down to what's best for the American people. Okay? If we look at policies and we compare the policies side by side, it is clear that she's failed. It's
100%.
Also clear that President Trump was able to secure the border more than we had ever seen in 45 years. Not just once, but twice in 45 years. When Congress refused to work with him, because he did try to work with Congress the first 2 years, and when Congress...
Yeah, I don't know about y'all. I don't even think she should be able to run for president because of what she failed with the border. And thank you to everybody that's supporting the channel. If you don't mind clicking that thumbs up like button, guys, it helps out so much. Thank you for all your support. Let me know what you think about this failed policy by Kamala Harris.
To work with him, he then had to implement executive orders and policies that were in his purview from the executive branch. He did that. Harris has failed to do that. So when we compare policies, it is clear that President Trump's policies are much better than Kamala Harris's policies. President Trump's policies keep America safe, keeps our children safe, and hopefully our grandchildren as well. That's the reason that I've supported President Trump, and that's the reason that President Trump is the right choice in this election. Carrie, thank you.
Let's go. I love that, because who is the person that's actually going to do the job? The job is to protect the United States, protect the American people. Make sure we take care of our deficit. Make sure the bills get paid. And when you see that they've failed so badly, how could people want another 4 years of this, guys? Let me know your thoughts in the comments section. Check this out.
The past 6 months. However, the polling suggests that she's got some momentum. Where today, some 88 days away, do you see this race?
Well, the race is still going to favor President Trump. The set of cards that Harris and Walz have You've got an economy that's in shambles. You got a border that's open. You've got wars, breaking out around the world, and whether that's advances by China, advances by Iran. I mean, it is the total mess that Joe Biden and Harris have left us is still there. This honeymoon period, unbelievable, Bill and Shannon. I mean, she got almost 3 weeks without having to take a question from a reporter as a candidate. Anybody who's ever run for president knows, even if you're an unknown candidate, you can't go like 3 hours, much less 3 weeks, without somebody asking you a question. And if you were dodging them for 3 weeks, you'd be out of the race. And then you just mentioned she hasn't done a press conference since December. I mean, that's got to be a new record for a vice president. And then she never mentions Joe Biden's name. And she was part of this conspiracy and cover-up about Joe Biden's health. She was part of the big lie that went on for over a year. The media was complicit with that, and the same media that was covering up Joe Biden is now lifting her up without putting her on even the most minimal kind of questions about policy that you would ask any candidate, even at the very beginning of a presidential campaign. And here she is, the nominee, and they're giving her a free pass. I mean, it's unbelievable.
Yeah, and Governor, why would they change strategy? As Bill says, the polling is looking good. Let's put up this Marquette Law School, which has shown a big change from when President Biden was on the ticket to now. It's giving a 4-point advantage. That's head-to-head nationally. Actually, there we're showing 6. If you're voting right now. And so the no press conferences, the no being...
There is no way that this can be true. There's no way that her, in her position, in what she's done, can people want to vote for her in this polling be... I don't believe it, guys. I don't. Let me know if you believe it in the comments section.
To be working. So her unfavorables or down favorables are up. We were told that she was super unpopular and nobody wanted to hear from her. This strategy is working, though. Why would they change?
Well, I guess as long as they have a complicit media that isn't... I mean, for her to say that, hey, I'm trying to schedule an interview in the next 3 weeks, I mean, it's stunning that they can say that and not be questioned and be like, oh, that's great. She's really getting after it. But when you take a look at those poll numbers, you can't look at the national polls. You got to go state by state. I've always said this race is coming down to 7 swing states. And in those 7 swing states, even take a place like Minnesota, remember President Trump won 78 out of 87 counties when he in 2016, when he ran for president in a state that they said a Republican could never win. And so this is the message is out there. People understand when we start talking about the economy, people understand that they're worse off today under Biden-Harris than they were under the great economy he had with President Trump. We didn't have wars under President Trump. Now we've got them breaking out all over the world. And this open border, they can't.
Yeah, and I've got that for you in just a moment because a U.S. base was just attacked in Syria. Like a lot of our bases are starting to be attacked, guys. This doesn't look good. This is how these dang World War III starts.
With Harris being the open borders czar, she can't run from that. The one thing they asked her to do, and as the open borders czar, and then she was the swing vote on the Inflation Creation Act. She in the Senate voted for this incredibly bad piece of legislation that's caused inflation, that's eroding Americans' energy advantage. It's empowering dictators around the world. She's key to that. I mean, she was the swing vote, and she has to own the policies that she's voted for. I know that the Trump campaign is going to hold her to those.
Well, Governor, based on that answer, there's a lot to shoot at. And we're going to see how well the former president can prosecute the case against her. 2 things here. Number 1, on the Kamala Harris honeymoon from yesterday's press conference. Watch.
The honeymoon period's going to look. She's got a little period. She's got a convention coming up. It's about policy. It's not about her. I think she's incompetent because I've watched her. She destroyed California. She destroyed San Francisco. Everything she's touched has turned to bad things. I'm not going to use foul language, but everything she's touched has turned bad. She's incompetent.
I think the one key line in there is it's about policy. It's not about her, and we'll see whether or not he sticks to that. The Wal Street Journal today writes this in their editorial. Kamala Harris, mystery commander-in-chief. How would the vice president keep America safe in a dangerous world? The voters deserve some answers, and they tick off a number of things, You know, why couldn't you stop Putin going into Ukraine, the Afghan withdrawal, what's happening with China, South China, on and on and on it goes. And we're hyper-focused on domestic matters in a lot of ways because of our economy and the inflation issue, which is another topic that needs to be prosecuted fairly and deeply over the next 88 days. If you go to her website, there are 0 issues that are listed on her website. When does that change, Governor?
Wow. What a
Well, that's right, Bill. There's 0 policies on the Biden Walz or the Harris Walz website, as you pointed out. And one glimpse that we have about her on policy is the whole decision that she made about who was going to be her VP. I mean, she passed on Governor Shapiro in part to placate the Hamas wing of the Democrat Party. And throughout this, any statement that that Biden and Harris have made about Israel have been really advocating on behalf of Hamas and trying to tell Israel to stand down. And that should tell us certainly one thing that we know about her policy. And President Trump, there was never a president that was stronger on Israel than President Trump.
Exactly.
From a commander-in-chief, President Trump equals strength. Harris is the same as Biden. Weakness invites wars in America. And the big stick that we can carry around the world is energy dominance. And Harris has led the charge in trying to kill the U.S. energy industry. And we talk about the president being so powerful of the United States, but the president of the United States only can shut down about 10% of the world's energy production, and that's here in the United States. So when they go after U.S. energy, that's when they're empowering Iran.
I get it. I get it. The piece concludes with this. Americans should not have to read tea leaves to figure out if Ms. Harris would keep the country safe in a treacherous world. And that,
guys, let me tell you this. If they could truly lead our country and make sure that no new wars were started, they would have already done it. But they're weak leaders. Biden's a weak leader. So is Kamala. She would have stood up. She would have taken care of things, but it never happened. And right now, look at this. We've had a drone attack on the U.S. base in Syria. This happened today, a couple of hours ago. It's being reported that a U.S. military base was targeted at, I can't pronounce this, Karab al-Jir in northeastern Syria. You can see the flames. This is from that attack. Like, we're literally getting attacked, our U.S. bases around the world, because we have weak leadership. If they feared us, they wouldn't do this. At the same time, too, I am thankful that we just gave $3.5 billion. So the Biden administration released $3.5 billion in military aid to Israel. But this goes completely against what Kamala Harris said today to unsettled voters, that she would be open to walking back her commitments or the United States commitments to Israel in their aid to fight this war. Is that the type of president that we need? And I'm telling you this, like Joe DeVito, this is what I'm talking about. We don't hear on the news about this that just happened, but thank God we have a place like X where we can find all this news, pull it together, and show you. But we've got some weak leadership in the White House right now. We've got weak leadership that is just bending the knee to anybody and everybody just to try to get a vote. Whenever, I mean, guys, when you're as bad as changing your accent and saying things a certain way, I mean, it's just sad. It really is sad. You know, when we think about what do we need to do? How do we change this? How do we make a difference? Well, this is how we do it, guys. I've got my friend. I don't know if y'all know him. His name is Dan Bongino. Check it out.
I told you, bank your vote, man. Bank your vote. And here's why. Listen to me. Please listen to your buddy, Dan. I get it. Listen, please. I'm asking you, I don't want to yell. Please. Early voting sucks. Mail-in voting sucks. Period. Please don't send me an email saying, why are you... I'm not. They suck. We should have a national one-day election with voter ID, and it's a national holiday. Period. I'm with you. Brothers and sisters, I get you. I'm not yelling at anybody. I'm just saying, I'm going to get 100 emails today. Stop. I get it. But we're stuck with this shit for now. We're stuck with it because it's here. The Democrats bank their votes because they want to win. They get out there day one of early voting because you know what's going to happen on election day? Because Sis is already telling you? Because Sis is already telling you? Because Sis is already telling you? There's going to be outages.
Outages.
Printers aren't going to work.
Remember that happened in Arizona? That all these things happened. Remember what happened in Georgia? They had these pipe bursts. Oh, they didn't actually burst. This, and that. And it happened in a different room just to keep people out from doing their jobs.
Sounds like what happened in Arizona. They're going to run out of ink. It's a DDoS attack. I'm sorry, Republicans. It'll just be an hour. How many people are going to walk off the line?
Exactly.
I'm on bended knee, man. As my friends, I'm begging you to bank your vote. I am begging you as a friend if you want to win. I am not kidding. I am on a knee right now if you're listening on Apple and Spotify. Please bank your vote early, as early as you can. Get your kids out there. Bring 10 people.
Guys, if you don't mind, click that thumbs up like button. It really helps to grow the channel. I'm telling you this, guys. What he's saying is so true because this is what happens. If we don't vote early, then all of a sudden people start seeing the news. Oh, we've already got all this early voting. This is going for the Democrat. Look, we need to get out. We need to vote early and make sure that the polls can't be swayed. What did Donald Trump say? Too big to rig.
With you. There are no excuses. There is no, I'm making a statement voting. You're not making a statement on election day if they go, oh shit, DDoS attack.
That's the state of where things are at, guys. It's so bad that we've got to make sure that we vote as soon as possible, that we show the polls as soon as possible that there are Republicans, there are conservatives, there's independents that are getting out there and they're voting for Donald Trump and not just wait until the very last minute like things always happen in the past years. Show some love for this country by getting out there and voting early because I don't know about y'all, but I think we should 100% have a full day off. It's a national holiday to vote. It only happens every 4 years. National holiday to vote. Get out there. Everybody's off. Paid leave, whatever it takes, and allow people to execute their God-given right as an American citizen to go and vote for the next president of the United States. This is the most important election that we have, and we need to make sure that we vote, and it's our vote that counts. We don't let some stupid machine keep us from voting. We don't let a pipe bursting keep us from voting. We don't let any incident keep us from voting. We fulfill our American duty, and we vote for the President of the United States. Because I'll tell you this, something's going to happen in some swing state. Remember in Pennsylvania in 2020? Remember whenever at like 3 a.m., how all of a sudden, what happened? Where did those votes come from? I mean, Trump was killing it. Like, everybody was like, yeah, Trump got Pennsylvania. And then all of a sudden, Biden wins it. And he won it at 3 o'clock in the morning. Like, guys, when I show you this blows my mind. At the same time, too, remember, this is all coming out right now, guys. I hope y'all appreciate this information that I'm telling y'all because I'm trying to make sure to give you as much factual information as possible. In Georgia right now, they are trying to fight and show the American people what happened. So in Georgia, there's a federal law in Georgia that says that they have to retain an image of every ballot that is given. Every ballot that gets counted for a vote has to be saved. Well, guess what happened to supposedly 1.3 million ballots for Biden? Oh, they don't have them anymore. They can't produce them. Yet, they can produce, but they would still want to say that Biden won. If you took those 1.3 million lost ballot images out of the mix, and you only had what was left, Trump wins Georgia. But because they counted those ballots, now we don't even know what they are. They were lost. But they're saying that they're Biden's, and that's how Biden won. And now they're trying to fight against it to make sure that there isn't no corruption. Because I'm telling you, if so many people have said, look at this. Guys, let me show you this video right here, guys. Because this is the real stuff. You don't see this on mainstream, but I got you guys. Check this out.
To know, I need to be able to know how they are, for lack of better words, how there are all of these votes that are going on. And my client is saying that he hasn't lived in Nevada. He hasn't voted in Nevada. Where he has voted is Georgia. He lives in Gwinnett County. And there's never been an instance where he's been cited for any irregularities within Gwinnett County. And so again, it goes to my point. Now, bigger fundamental question would be is what is going on in Nevada that lets the Georgia resident who has been here for well over 20 years vote repeatedly in Nevada in every single election? The devil's in the details. If it's...
I don't know if you caught that. So this dude that's lived in Georgia for over 20 years, his name is still on the Nevada ballot, and he has supposedly voted in every single election in Nevada, even though, and this is a lawyer speaking, he has not lived there in over 20 years. Tell me that there ain't some sort of corruption out there, guys.
Every single election? Then that begs the question. And in my opinion, it takes more than just people looking at signatures.
Yes.
Match. The second question that I'm going to ask.
We need photo ID. We need signatures. We need social security numbers. We need 100% full-blown truth. This is who you are. You're an American citizen, and you have the right to vote in this election. Wait, hold on. Can't hear you. Helen says can't hear you. Guys, can y'all hear me? Let me know in the chat. You should be able to hear me. But I do want to say this, guys. Thank you so much for joining us in the stream. If you don't mind clicking the thumbs up like button, it really helps to grow the channel. I want to say thank you to everybody that is subscribed. If you're not subscribed, hit that subscribe button so we can serve you every day with the top news. Thank you to everybody that gives a super chat, gives a donation to the channel, guys. It's such a blessing to me and my family, guys, and we just want to continue taking care of y'all every day with the top news. We love you. We thank you for all your participation. We'll get some fireworks for... I think we had a great show, guys. Love y'all. I will see y'all in the next one. Take care. Bye-bye.